Hey guys, today we're just going to take a quick look at some of the 2025 pension-related legislation that's currently pending. There's a couple of big ticket items on here that I want to bring to you guys' attention. Just a quick recap of some of these up top. First one here is we're looking at changing the collective bargaining agreement. So it's going to give individual employers more power to decide how they want to do benefits for their employees. Second bill, volunteer firefighters will be given the option to enroll into the deferred compensation plan. So most volunteer firefighters aren't eligible, therefore they don't really have a way to save for their retirement. This one would give them the option to do that. Next one down here, it's basically for the ones that aren't offered anymore, pretty much plan one. They're just changing some things behind it to make sure they stay solvent. This bill here, HB 1270, is basically making deferred compensation plans automatic enrollment for a lot of counties and municipalities. So I think it's a really good move. Just because if you look at people on Plan 3, most of them wouldn't have nearly as much money as they do if they weren't forced to be saving into their plan. Now this one you can opt out of, but it does give them the initial nudge into the deferred compensation plan and it gets them in the habit of saving. Next one down, and this is a reason why I really don't like Plan 1, and a lot of people will ask about Plan 1 and say they wish they had it back. And this is probably a reason why it's a good thing that they don't have it anymore, is that every single year they're on this document or on the list of legislation adjustments because they didn't have cost of adjustments in the plan. It wasn't a default benefit. In fact, they had to actually purchase cost of adjustment, and the deduction was pretty steep. So a lot of people didn't take it. Fast forward 20, 30 years now, there's a lot of people in Plan 1 that you really can't keep with inflation anymore because there is no adjustment. So every single year they have to come on this document, ask for more money for them. They do cap the benefits. I believe it's down here as a separate bill. Same thing goes for people in Plan 1. And it looks like when I went through the history of this, every single year going back to at least 2018, they have to go in there and add more money. So they have to increase the benefit. And it increases as much as $60 per month. This current change, it says the cap is $110 per month. That's the most of cost of adjustment a person in Plan 1 could get, depending on what their current pension rates are. The bill above this I just skipped over here, it's for LEOFF 2 members. It's basically going to give them the option to purchase service credit back for leaves of absence. So if you had to go to leave for medical or family reasons and you miss work, you obviously miss earning those service credits, this will give you the option to buy it back. Now, buying back service credits, I'm working on a calculator that I use to help people make the decision. It's not just buying the credits, there's also potentially interest that gets charged to it, and whether or not it makes sense to actually buy the service credits back versus just investing it potentially into like a LEOFF annuity plan are things that we help people weigh. You can also just straight up buy, service credits. So not buying back credits that we miss, buying extra credits. So a lot of things to look at if you are considering buying credits here. Now, the big players I wanted to touch on was this one here, HB 1642. Now, what this one details is it's going to give people the option to switch from Plan 3 into Plan 2. For a period of time, people that got hired into these plans weren't given the option to enroll in Plan 3. Plan 3 is the only option offered. So this bill, if passed, would give people the option to switch back. You could basically go from Plan 3 to Plan 2. Now, if you were to go this route, you basically essentially have to give up some of the money you have saved in that Plan 3 and in the defined contribution side of things would have to be moved back into the Plan 2 side of things. You don't technically lose the money. It's just going to a different pension system. It does earn a little bit of interest, but really what you're buying is that added benefit. So the difference between Plan 3 and 2% is the guaranteed pension income. So Plan 3 guys get 1%, people in Plan 2 get 2%. So if you make that move, you're essentially doubling your pension or doubling your guaranteed income for life. So it might be a good move for some people. Now it depends on what the cost is, and they don't really detail how they're going to break that down. If it's like purchasing service credits in a way, they might have some administrative factors, but it's going to be interesting to see how they determine cost. Do we have to contribute what people in Plan 2 would have contributed the whole time? Is there interest charged for not being in the plan? I wouldn't think they would, because you actually save the state interest, because people in Plan 2 actually accrue interest from the state. And if we weren't accruing interest, I don't see why they would charge us an extra premium for that. But anyways, there's a lot of questions. We'll know more, if this bill were to pass, how they decide to handle that. But it could be a really good move for some people. Other thing you want to consider is, would just staying in Plan 3 be better? Would it be better if I just bought the TAP annuity? Would that give me enough guaranteed income to pass what Plan 2 would have been? So there's a lot going on here. So that's one to definitely keep your eye on, this HB 1642. If you are someone in the Plan 3 system looking potentially Plan 2 and you weren't offered the option of Plan 2 when you first started. So I believe it was years of 96 to 2007, something like that. That's what they're stating in here. Now, the other big ticket item to look at here is this HB 1790 bill, I believe. Yeah, HB 1790. This bill is the one that's going to actually increase the pension payouts for people in TERS, PERS, and CERS. So Teacher Retirement System, the School Employees Retirement System, and the Public Employees Retirement System. This bill here, HB 1790, is going to give you an extra 0.5% added to your benefit calculation for every year earned past 30 years. So if your first 30 years is just kind of as is, it's any years earned past 30, we get this 0.5% increase, and there's no cap on that. So if I had 40 years of service in the system, I would have 10 years where I'd earn an extra 0.5%. That means people in plan 2 would get 2.5%, people in plan 1 would get 1.5% for those extra 10 years. So that's one that we're keeping an eye on. They did something similar to this to the LEOFF 2 system a few years ago. So I think that the odds of them potentially increasing this benefit here to try to encourage people to stay longer, I would feel like it has a pretty good shot, considering they've already done this successfully a few years ago with a different pension system. You can see here, Senate Bill 5718, same thing here. So those are like the major ones that I wanted to point out. Make sure you track those bills, follow me online, or join our school community here. That's going to be the best way to keep updates on this. So if you guys aren't a member yet, we do have our free school group going. It's called Washington Wealth Breakthrough. We currently have, right now 66 members. It's currently free, but what this does is it gives you guys access, to me on a more personal level. So you can always come into the community tab. You can obviously post questions, and when things come into play here, so you can see I'm giving people updates on the different bills as they go in. We've got people commenting and discussing the potential benefits on here. You guys can feel free to ping and ask questions, so you don't leave comments on there. Rather than sending emails, you can get feedback, not from me, but from other members, people that have been in the system that may be going through similar things as you. Other benefit here that I'm currently working on is putting together retirement classes. So still working on the basic class here. I'm obviously going to have to make some changes to what I've recorded because of these new pension bills potentially. But in here, on this Retro Essentials, I've posted 5 videos that actually go more in detail on things that people struggle with. So timeline, how much longer do I have to retire? Can I retire? It's all answered. How do I set up my investments to produce income? That's our bucket system. So I have a couple of things in here answering people's biggest questions. Again, these videos are free. These videos here are exclusive to the group, so I don't have them publicly posted anywhere else except for here. So if you want access to these videos, feel free to join the group. I'll put the link in the description of this video below. And until next time, remember that your future depends on what you do today.